If you're thinking about selling your home, one of the most important decisions you'll make is setting the right price. Get it right, and you can sell quickly for top dollar. Get it wrong, and you may find your home sitting on the market for months, losing value in the process. Unfortunately, it's extremely common for sellers and for some agents to make poor decisions when it comes to pricing. And those poor decisions can cost sellers thousands of dollars and keep the property from selling for weeks and sometimes months. Hi, I'm Trey. I'm a local realtor with Keller Williams Realty right here in Metro Atlanta. In this video, we're diving deep into the biggest pricing mistakes that sellers and even some agents make. And I'll show you how to avoid them so you can sell for the best price in the shortest time with the fewest headaches. Let's get started. Setting the initial listing price is one of the most critical factors in determining your home's final sales price and how quickly it sells. Let's take a look at the real numbers and look at the impact that pricing has on home sales. So I went back and pulled the data from FMLS, one of our two local MLSs here in the Metro Atlanta market, for December of 2024. Looking at all the 9 major Metro Atlanta counties. And here's what we found when we were looking at all the listings that came off the market. So for every 100 homes that came off the market, 46 of them failed to sell. So those are listings that either expired, so they ran their term, or they were withdrawn. The seller decided to pull it off the market. So 46 failed to sell, 54 successfully sold. And the question that I'd ask is, why did those 46 homes fail to sell? Well, there's always a few exceptions. In most cases, it comes down to overpricing. The market simply didn't respond favorably to their asking price. Now let's consider the 54 that successfully sold. Of the 54 that sold, 28 of them had to reduce their price before they were sold. These homes that were initially overpriced eventually sold for an average of 92.2% of the original list price. That means on a home that was initially priced at $450,000, it probably sold somewhere in the neighborhood of $415,000. That's a little over a $35,000 difference between where it finally sold and the initial sales price. And to make things even worse, those homes took an average of 95 days on the market to get under contract. Now compare those results to the 26 that sold with no price reduction. These homes sold for an average of 100% of the original list price, and they sold in just 16 days on the market. So going back to our overpriced example of the $450,000 home that sold for $415,000 in 95 days, imagine a different scenario. Imagine that seller had, instead of listing the home at $450,000, had listed the home at $425,000. Probably a better price decision, a better placement of the price on that particular property. And if that seller had done that, and their agent had done that together, that property probably would have sold for $425,000 instead of $415,000. That means that they would have netted an extra $10,000, and that property would have sold in 16 days. That means $10,000 more, and they would have been done 79 days faster. That's a massive difference, right? So the data's clear. Pricing mistakes cost time and they cost money. And when we have properties that are out there on the market at any given time, if we've got half of them that aren't selling because they were overpriced, and we have half of the ones that did sell were overpriced, that means that by far the majority were overpriced. So how did so many properties wind up on the market with pricing issues like this? Well, let's explore the most common pricing mistakes and how to avoid them. Pricing mistake number 1. hiring the wrong agent. Now, what do I mean by the wrong agent? The wrong agent lacks pricing expertise. This could be a lack of experience or a lack of training, and they're going to struggle to explain their strategy in detail and justify their pricing recommendation. The wrong agent prioritizes simply getting the listing over the seller's best interest. They want their sign in the yard and the opportunity to meet potential buyer clients at open houses. They're perfectly willing to overprice a home just to get the listing. They're betting that eventually the seller's going to realize that the home is overpriced and agree to reduce the price. The only issue they're concerned with, it's going to take them a little bit longer for them to get paid. The wrong agent relies too heavily on automated computer models instead of in-depth market analysis, similar to what an appraiser would do. And the wrong agent doesn't speak up when the seller is likely making a poor pricing decision. They simply accept it and move forward anyways. Compare that with the right agent. The right agent understands how an appraiser is going to value your property, and they take a similar approach in creating a pricing recommendation for you. The right agent is knowledgeable and a constant student of pricing and the market. They know the competition for your home, they know the market trends, they know buyer demand. They provide a pricing strategy based on evidence, not on opinion. The right agent's priority is the seller. Their objective is to get the home sold for the most money, with the fewest hassles, and within the seller's timeline. They know that their biggest win comes not when they get the listing, but when the seller wins. And it's that type of thinking that leads to lifelong clients and lots of referrals. The right agent is a true consultant. If they feel the seller's making a poor decision, they're going to ask questions to better understand why the seller thinks that is the best decision. And they're going to take the time to share additional information, explain the alternatives available, review the pros and cons of each option, and they're very intentional about providing their clients with all the information needed to make better decisions. In my experience, when people have the best information, they're going to make the best decisions. The bottom line is hiring a great agent is your best bet to ensure that you price your home right from day one and give yourself the best chance for success. Pricing mistake number 2, using outdated pricing strategies. Some sellers and even some agents still use outdated pricing tactics, like listing the property at $499,900 instead of $500,000. That was the best strategy when newspaper classifieds and those real estate books you would pick up just inside the grocery store doors were the best place for buyers to find available properties. But today, buyers search online, and the sites they use have either set brackets or they've got fillable fields where they'll put in a minimum price and a maximum price. And no one searches for a price range of $489,900 to $519,900. That's not how people think. So, using that as an example, if you price a home at $489,900, you miss all of the buyers that are searching from $490 up. So somebody's searching $490 to $520 or $490 to $510 or $490 to $525. They're never going to see your property. The better strategy is pricing round numbers, ideally in $10,000 increments, but at least in $5,000 increments. You always want your home to be listed at a price that would be one buyer's maximum number and someone else's minimum number. That way your property will appear in both searches. That added exposure can create more interest, helping the home to sell faster and for more money. Pricing mistake number 3, overpricing to leave room for negotiations. Many sellers think I'll price high so I've got some room to negotiate, but in reality, overpricing chases buyers away before negotiations even begin. And here's why. Overpriced homes don't show up in the searches for the right buyers. So you've priced yourself outside of their search criteria. Buyers compare the overpriced home to better priced homes, and they simply move on. They don't even request to see the home. And buyers may forego an overpriced home because they fear that the seller is unrealistic and that they're going to be difficult to negotiate with, so they don't even make the effort. Proper pricing is not an invitation for lowball offers like some sellers think. Proper pricing actually gets your property in front of more potential buyers and creates more competition. It offers you the best chance at multiple competing offers, which often results in higher sales prices, which is what we want. Pricing mistake number 4, misunderstanding what determines value. It doesn't matter how much you paid for your property or how much it would cost you to rebuild your home. It doesn't matter how much you need to sell your home for or how much you want to get or what you think your home is worth. None of those things have anything to do with value. It's not the seller. It's not their agent. It's not even the appraiser that determines the value. It's the market. It simply is what a likely buyer will pay. As the seller, you certainly don't have to accept any buyer's offer. But conversely, you also can't force a buyer to pay what you want for that property. Buyers will simply choose another property if you're priced too high. Sellers need to be cautious that they don't fall into the common mental traps that affect how they perceive the value of their own home. I'm talking about things like ignoring or refusing to accept market data and instead wanting to price their home based on emotion or opinion. Another mental trap is overestimating the value of upgrades. It doesn't matter how much you spend on upgrades. That figure has absolutely nothing to do with what value someone else is going to place on it. Some upgrades will add some value, but typically not what you spent. Some upgrades will add no value, and some might even detract from your value. So make sure that you're not assigning too much value to the upgrades that you've done. Similarly, sellers need to be realistic and not underestimate the impact on value that necessary repairs and outdated features will have. It's typically more than just the cost of the repair, because you also have to factor in what the buyer's going to factor in. And that's their time, the inconvenience of them having to make that repair after they've bought it, and the unknown of what might be discovered or what additional cost there may be once they start that repair. Lastly, sellers should not place their faith in any online automated valuation models like Zillow. It's a really common place for people to go. But according to Zillow, the Zillow Zestimate has a median error rate of 7.49% for off-market homes. That means you go and look up your home today, and let's suppose that your house, the market value, what it should be listed for is $400,000. The Zestimate is usually going to be off by $30,000. That could be $30,000 too high. That could be $30,000 too low. That's just the average. Some homes are going to be off by even more than that. To price correctly, you just have to base your price on nothing more than recent comparable sales and not what's active on the market. You got to look at what has sold. You've got to look at current market conditions, and you should be talking to an experienced agent and leaning onto their expertise. All right, so let's wrap all this up. The key thing I would love for you guys to be taking away today is that pricing your home correctly from the start is the key to selling it quickly and for top dollar. The numbers prove it. Homes that start with the right price sell faster and for more money than those that require price reductions. So if you're thinking about selling a home here in the Atlanta market and want a smart data-driven pricing strategy, I'd love the opportunity to talk with you. Feel free to reach out to me directly, comment below. I'd love to help you. And if you found this video helpful today, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with somebody who might need this advice. And we'll see you next time.